What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Anthony Sain Show. This is, of course, your host.
Yeah, you use a hoe. I said that use a hoe.
Oh man, came out going too fast. This is your host, Anthony Sain. I have been called a hoe on both sides of the track by men and by women.
Listen,
in my time. You know, some of them hate us, some of them love us, Kenny Stubblefield. But we push on. Either way, we push on. But anyway. This is another show, Anthony Sain Show, with your host, Anthony Sain, here with my guy, Kenny Stubblefield, man. Plus featuring the ambulance or police siren, whatever y'all just heard. I live in the medical district, man, so ambulance run past my house literally all day, all night long. I hear ambulance driving past my. I've kind of gotten immune to it, except for when I have guests via the World Wide Web that have to explain what you may be hearing. But I live in the medical district, so I hear ambulances all the time, man, driving past my apartment. It kind of shocked me at first, but I've grown.
Well, I bet it did.
Yeah, because it's weird. It's a little different. Like I said, literally past my window, ambulances drive past here all the time, man. Out here where I live, a lot of hospitals out here. So
yeah, there is.
And I live, right off the expressway, so people are it's a lot going on right through here. But another episode of Anthony Sain Show. Kenny, since the last time we talked, the Olympics came to a close.
Yeah, man.
We all have to go back to our normal lives, man. And I will say that these Olympics were absolutely great. I really enjoyed. I enjoyed it.
They were the best. They were the best in a long time. I mean, I know it's every 4 years, so
But the last time they had it with the pandemic, it just wasn't the same.
No.
You had limited fans or no fans for the most part. A lot of people were going there begrudgingly. It was happening in the middle of a lot of civil unrest here in America. And you really didn't feel too proud about being American. Not saying I actually do now at this time, but there's a lot more things. Because you got to remember, man, you had the stuff with Sha'Carri that really upset a lot of people last year. Where she wasn't able to compete because she failed a drug test for marijuana. You know what I mean? And she said that she was self-medicating because of depression, because of anxieties, because of somebody in her family that passed. So I think it was her mom or somebody that passed.
Man, I wish I had done a podcast back then because I didn't.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I wish we were a thing, but I was doing radio back then, and me and Peter Emerson were in the middle of it with that type of stuff. Big reason why that show doesn't really exist anymore.
Is that one of the reasons?
It was just one of them. I mean,
wow,
a little different over there, man. We were doing a very, very progressive show on a very conservative. Very liberal show on a very conservative radio station. So
all I know is when I was dealing with my mental health stuff, and they wanted to supply me, they wanted to give me as much Lexapro as they could possibly give me to make me feel better. After the first 6 months of it regulating my body, and I felt better, it killed it. It killed my body. Like I couldn't do anything, couldn't get out of bed, couldn't get whatever. Marijuana is the only thing that brought me back.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's definitely the one drug. Yeah, for sure.
As our good friend Cat Williams says, it's just a plant that if you just so happens to sets it on fire.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big advocate for it, for sure. But yeah, man, like I enjoyed the Olympics, man. It was really good. Shout out to Peacock, the coverage. Even to this day, I've been going back looking at stuff that I missed, and I'm like, man, this is dope, man. Like the way they had it, just the presentation of it, the layout of the menus and everything. Looks super good, man, and they just the presentation of it was great. You had guys like Noah Lyles. We'll talk about him later on.
Yeah,
3-pointer and those type of things. I'll talk to Parish about Noah Lyles. The 3-pointer is gonna be cool too. We gotta talk about your girl, this Australian lady with the breakdancing thing. Sometimes you'll see things you're like, no, I'm not watching it, and I got very good reason not to watch it. Then when you hear about it, you're like, yeah, okay, I'm glad I didn't watch it. Like, I'm glad I didn't see that. And I won't watch it. I'm not watching that breakdancing stuff at all for several reasons. But one is definitely this lady.
If what is being reported about her and how she got there is true, it is absolutely a travesty, and Australia needs to be held to account for what happened there, because that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy for real. But man, we're about to slide out the way. My boy Parish Sharkey is here. We're going to talk about a lot of things happening at the Olympics, a lot of things going in the NBA, and a big crazy story going on in the WNBA as well. We'll talk to Parish about that and more here on the Anthony Sain Show. We'll see you guys in a minute.
The buzzword phrase of the day is implied authority. But here's the argument that's coming back from the ACC is that he had implied authority to be able to do that based on previous decisions that had been made and were agreed upon by the universities. So things could get squirrely here.
The ACC has bylaws stating that if anything changes with the media deal, they all have to be notified and agree on it. Even if he has applied authority, that means he could sign it without them. The ACC bylaws don't state that.
If he has implied authority to be able to make those decisions in terms of a media deal, he signs it and he just has to make them aware. That doesn't give them authority to veto it, right? Like they can't veto that if that's true. But if they have to sign off on it, then that the implied authority argument is null and void.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
No Christmas Day game for the Grizzlies. And not that upset me. I mean, I'm fine not playing on Christmas. But it just keeps feeling like it's piling up that we are a forgotten team, and we're a forgotten team with a forgotten star. This is the year to remind them. LFG! Exclamation point.
Dang, you started like that today. Okay.
Let's go.
It's
the Remind Me Tour.
Hey, no
Grizzlies are on tour this season. It's the Remind Me Tour. Go ahead and start the hashtag. Hashtag Remind Me. Because the Grizzlies are going to remind them who they are.
Tune in to the Night Court Podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight.
All right, here we go. Anthony Sain Show, episode 118, segment 2, whenever you're ready.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. I got my boy Parish Sharkey, man. Of course, he covers the Memphis Grizzlies for Bluff City Media. He is the beat writer over there. He joins us each and every Wednesday, and of course, he joins us now. Parish, what's going on, my boy?
Ain't not much, man. Missing the Olympics. I got used to
man.
it.
We run out of basketball. There will be no more basketball for a while. Thing about the NBA is that you got the finals, then of course you have the draft. Immediately you go into summer league, and then this year you had the Olympics, which were awesome as hell. And now we're just in this true dead zone, this true off season, with the season really getting ready to start again in like 6 weeks or something like that. 6 to 8 weeks you go back to camp. Yeah. So we're truly in the true dead zone off season. But this is one of the better
for the basketball people, at least. You know, we got football people.
I don't give a crap about them. Crap about the Titans. None of this crap, man. I've been seeing some training camp stuff coming out. Preseason games, stuff like that. I couldn't care less, to be honest with you, Parish. But happy for you, for those who do observe the NFL. I do. Shout out to y'all. But there are a lot of things in the world of sports, in the world of basketball, NBA, adjacent that we can talk about today. Number one, of course, United States basketball team, another gold medal in a game that was a little challenging against France, and Victor Wembanyama pulled out. They stretched out the lead pretty much at the end of the first half and throughout the third quarter. Pretty much kept France at arm's distance from there, in a great game where you saw Steph Curry just go crazy in that game. They got a little tight at the end. Steph Curry put the game away, and it's just so wild, man. Because I've seen people have conversations and saying things like that Olympic is that solidifies Steph is this, or that puts him in the tier with this. I'm like, bro, he's been that, bro. Like, he ain't got to do nothing, man. Like man could retire tomorrow, and he's still that dude. What are your thoughts on Steph Curry and his legacy, and just this being just another, jewel in his crown of his career?
I'm glad he finally got to play in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. I know previous years, and I know people was asking like, hey, why he hasn't played before? And I know, I think, 2012, he had the ankle injury problems.
He was young. But he was like.
Yeah, I thought he was young because I looked at that roster. He probably won 2012.
Yeah, it was Chris Paul, like prime, like good
Darren Williams
on the team. Yeah. James Harden and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook. Yeah. So he might not have made it anyway. Yeah. 2016 was after the 3-1 comeback, and he had knee surgery, if I'm not mistaken, after that finals. Then 2020 was COVID. A lot of people denied 2020. So I think I think he doesn't want to do it in 2020. Or he had another injury that year, like a wrist injury or something. But I'm glad he finally got to do it. I'm glad he finally, because he had struggled, I guess, really majority of the Olympics with his 3-point shot at least. He did other things. He would drive to the hole. He his little floater. He'll make sure he get a teammate involved. But we finally saw the Steph Curry games, right? So just checking it out, it was fun to actually be on the other side of it. I've never personally hated Golden State, but I'm not a Golden State fan. So actually being like an actual rooting for LeBron. I've never even rooted for LeBron. Right. I'm up here like, oh, let's go, Bron. Oh, let's go, Steph. Like it was actually fun to be on this side and just witnessing like I'm not just at a Grizzlies game seeing him hit a crazy shot on us. I'm actually on the other side.
Cheering for that crazy shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in real fan mode watching those things. And another thing that happened too, man, was not just cheering for LeBron, not just cheering for Steph, but it's like the last 15 years of Grizzlies history, we're cheering for guys that have been our nemesis. Like I'm pulling for Devin Booker, right? I'm so impressed by Devin Booker. Like, what am I saying? Like, what am I talking about? Anthony Davis, Bam, all these dudes. I can't stand none of y'all, bro.
Even Anthony Edwards, although it's brief.
Anthony Edwards, what a player. What a stud. Yeah, man. So it did all those things, and it was great, man. Man, I hate that Tyrese Halliburton can't get into the game. Give me some Halliburton minutes. No one I don't give a damn about no Tyrese Halliburton, bro. But yeah, nobody finessed the whole Olympics the experience more than Tyrese Halliburton. Got out the car with a car full of white women. Did you saw that clip?
I heard about it at least. Yep.
Oh man, wild stuff. Yeah, man, wild stuff for sure. I will say this: I want KD, LeBron, and Steph to go out like this. I don't want to see any of them back again by themselves. I want them to go out as those three guys. Like I said, the faces of the past 15 years of NBA basketball. I want those guys to go out together. I don't want to see Steph by himself or LeBron come back at 43 or KD come back. I want to see this team gone, and I want them out of here. We'll segue to the women's side. Of course, they won gold as well. But before we do that, something else, a lot of what's going to happen in 2028 stuff is coming out, right? Brian Windhurst came out and said, don't forget about John Morant. One time he was, a guy you looked at as the future of the league. Don't forget about him, saying that a team led by Tatum, Anthony Edwards, and John Morant could be, the core of that 2028 team. You'll get Devin Booker back again if he wants to play. Probably Bam Adebayo. Anthony Davis says he wants to play. It feels like the 2028 team is really coming together. Like it's not many spots left. Like that seems like that team is already pretty set in stone. Maybe Jaylen Brown. I think Rick Bucher put out his prediction. He had Jaylen Brown in the team as well as John Morant. Do you see much room for any other guys? We've seen in Paolo Banchero, a lot of guys have mentioned him on there. Cooper Flagg, who I knew Cooper Flagg was going to be good, but when I asked him, okay, so what type of player is Cooper Flagg? And people were saying like versatile defender, on ball, rim protecting type defender, long, lanky, 6'8", 6'9" type guy. Plus he can score and shoot. I was like, yeah, that dude sounds like they said AK-47 with more offensive skills. Andre Kirilenko with more offensive skills.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, so he's a guy that I can see if he's that level player who could be, because I've been saying, you need a perimeter defender, but if he could be that dude, that Mikal Bridges type dude on that team, sign me up for that. So it kind of seems like, and Chet Holmgren is another name. It seems like a lot of people are a consensus guy that's going to be on the team. That's it. That's your 12 pretty much. So what are your thoughts on what the 2028 team could potentially look like? And is it going to be another year where we're hoisting up gold medals for Team USA?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that we should be good enough to hoist the gold medal, especially since we're back. So I think France benefited a lot from being at home because they upset Canada, they upset Germany. They weren't projected to win those two games, and then they played us down to the wire.
Yeah,
in true home game fashion, like that was a true home game. Right. So, but France also had 3 first-round picks this past year, including the number 1 pick who didn't play on this team. France and Wemby might be the best player in the world at that point, right? So France might be actually a formidable opponent at that point, but Team USA still would have the depth, the bench. No matter who you bring out there, you just got to bring the right collection of talent, right collection of people together. And I think like Cooper Flagg, he hasn't even played college yet, right? But the style of player that we're thinking of, he does fit like a player that can come off the bench and really produce on Team USA. So especially if you return those players who both came, I mean, the return, like you need your veterans like a Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Bam, AD, Anthony Edwards. You have your core there. They've been there. They've experienced it. That does help out a lot. But there are so many other players. And also, you never know injury. Like you said, Steph hadn't played yet because of injury somewhere. Injuries happen a lot, so you don't know what's going to be the case in 2028. But I think we're going to be solid regardless because we left off. We just named those players and you forgetting players. You haven't named like other players who can make it like Brandon Miller, for instance.
Right.
Jaren Jackson Jr., of course. Tyrese Halliburton returning and actually playing, right? Being healthy enough. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges himself playing on the team. So it's a lot of different players that it's like nobody still is going to match up with Team USA at that point. You just won't have your all-time greats, but it'll be new all-time greats because at that point, Jason Tatum, Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, we'll be talking about them in the light of like the top 5 players in the NBA at that point.
You mentioned France in 2028 and what it could look like, for them. I don't think they're going to be good again. Like they're losing Batum, of course, who's old. They're losing what's his name? Used to play for Orlando for a long time. Crap, man, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you talking about no, I can't really got his name left my head. He just played for New York. Fournier,
right? And like the dudes that got coming in, Ricochet and Alex Sarr, those dudes are gonna be super young. I don't think they're gonna be dudes that can really affect anything this soon for them. So I'm not really worried about France too much at all. I think Canada's gonna be good again. I just don't see it. A lot of people are saying like, well, who's gonna guard Jokic, right? Like, bro, Jokic is gonna be like 35, 36 by the time those Olympics come around. So I'm not really worried about these teams, man. Like I think that the gap between the US and the world will expand again. I think we'll see in 28. No, these teams ain't close to us. I think we'll see the same thing again.
Yeah. The thing with close games is Serbia hit a bunch of and they were open, but they hit a bunch of threes in that game, right? Any one team can win in a one game scenario, so that's always possible. But yeah, Team USA is better than these teams. I'm not really worried on that front.
Yeah, we gonna get them up out of here. Over on the women's side, my girl Gabby Williams, very interesting story with her. I had never really heard of this young lady before the other night, but she was doing her thing for France. Of course, we got really lucky in that game that shot sheet at the end was a 2 instead of a 3. And she had a very interesting story too. They were saying that France, anybody who played for France's team had to commit to be available the whole time. They couldn't go play for any other league, which is, I guess that's cool that they did that. I think somebody said she'll be back the second half of the season for Seattle or whatever team she plays for. Is that true?
No, she didn't sound like she was coming back. Well, I don't. If she do it, it won't. I know Angel. She used to play for the Sky back a while ago. And Angel Reese said something about like, come back here. She was like, hey, no, you can come join me. So maybe I think Seattle do own her rights now. So there's potential. But I saw something where she got suspended. I think when she was with the Chicago Sky, she got suspended because she couldn't return in time from France to play when the season started, and she got suspended the whole season, and they traded her to the Sparks, and she hadn't played in WNBA since, and that was like 3 years ago, I believe.
Right. Perry, I'll tell you what, bro, we're going to take a quick break, man. We got some more stuff to talk about, some Grizzlies-related stuff, some other just Olympic stuff, strange stuff going on in the WNBA. We'll talk about that in a moment when we come back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to finish to sit down with Sain with my guy Parish Sharkey in a minute.
Out of those 4, who is the key to the Tigers making a run?
I mean, guard play is so important. I want to say it's Tyrese.
Guard play is so big in college.
Guard. And you look at it last year, like the nights that Quinterly was off were usually nights that we were winning ball games.
I'm going to throw out another name. I think it's Colby.
I almost said that because if he can consistently knocking down threes at a 40% clip, if he's putting up 13 a night, I don't know that we're losing many games ever.
If Colby can come in and produce at
3/4 of the usage and percentage that he has been shooting for the last 4 years in college. It's going to be revolutionary for this team. Like, it just really will open up, right?
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
We saw last year what the Memphis Tiger offense, how much they relied on Blake Watson and how much they needed that could dominate the ball carries, every time they got the ball.
Somebody can take the ball 15 to 20 times a game and you can rely on it. Ryan has always talked about having a workhorse back, like having one guy he can trust. Yes, you want depth, but having one guy that he can trust. Hey, I can put this ball into your stomach 15 to 20 times a game. He had that with Blake, and I think he has that with Mario. If you talk to any college football coach, any NFL coach that is going right now, you can win the game by tossing the ball around, exposing another team's secondary. But if you're serious about winning championships, you're going to run the ball and you're going to play good defense.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. Back with my man, Parish Sharkey, man. We were talking Olympics earlier. We were talking Olympic basketball earlier. One more thing that is Olympic basketball related, man. Your boy Noah Lyles, man. He finished third place, got the bronze medal in the 200 meter. Came out, said he had COVID. Videos came out. I want to say the day later of him out in the club and all these type of things. Then he had to post a negative COVID test or whatever. And then, NFL players are coming at him. Tyreek Hill was like, man, I'll race that man to beat his ass. All this stuff. I'm like, man, this is wild. And then, the stuff came resurfaced about the comments he made about Adidas and Anthony Edwards, right? So I'm asking you, man, like, do you think he's just trolling and just having fun with this stuff and he's trying to market himself? Or he really just doesn't get it? Like, what do you think is going on with him?
I think
I don't think he was faking COVID. I think he actually did have COVID.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had COVID because that 4x100 team needed him, so he had COVID. They sloughed out.
Running tweets on everything. Like, what the world am I watching? Go
ahead. I think it's a little bit. I definitely think he's troll. I think he's trolling and serious at the same time, in the sense that I think he does have some sort of gripe with the fact that the NBA players get all the attention, and he wants track athletes to get some attention as well.
But
I think it's that he's trolling to get that attention, basically.
I get that, bro, but you have to work really hard to be the best American male track athlete and not be beloved. Like, I've never seen one of those guys not be beloved. Like, the guys that were good, the Carl Lewises, the Michael Johnsons, these guys were heroes, bro. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you have to work very hard to be a villain and be that good in the 100 meters. You know what I mean? And you had guys in the past who just really weren't that good, and they just really didn't have much personality. So, but they weren't beloved. But the guys that were good and just had a cool personality, those guys were beloved, man. And I'm like, dude, you're working very hard to be hated. Like, you have to work really hard to be hated and be the fastest man in America. You know what I mean? So that's my whole thing with him. Just chill out, bro. Sit your ass down somewhere. Congratulations on winning the 100 and the bronze in the 200. But Noah Lyles just doing too much out here. I'm like, bro, like, you can't expect yourself to be bigger than Anthony Edwards. Like, you're not, family. Like, it's just not how it works. It's not how it works.
It is what it is.
In wild news, though, man, something that's going on in the WNBA. Becky Hammond is in hot water right now with the unfair treatment of a young lady that was pregnant. I'm gonna hand this story to you, Paris, to speak on the young lady. I think you know her name more than I do. Speak on it more. Wild story going on with the WNBA and Becky Hammond.
Yeah, name is Derrica Hamby. She's a former player for the Aces. She won they won back-to-back championships. She was part of the first championship team. So I dove more to the story yesterday because she did some type of lawsuit or something against, I don't know who So I guess I don't understand the legal system, because when this came out, I was like, didn't she already do this? Because Becky Hammond got suspended the first 2 games of last season due to that, but the findings of that investigation. So I guess she got the goal to actually sue her, and I guess the WNBA or something along those lines to bring it back up. So I guess she felt like that punishment wasn't enough for what happened. So apparently she got pregnant, and the Aces, it was a wrongdoing or wherever, and they traded her. And reading the story yesterday, it dove into that she signed a contract extension in June of, I want to say 2022. She got pregnant in July. Becky Hammond think it's some type of rule in the CBA where if you knowingly know you're pregnant, while you can't sign a contract extension, something long. I don't know what it is or whatever. Jason Smith kind of talked about it a little bit. Him and John Martin went at it on Jason and John earlier today. But I guess Becky Hammond was thinking she got pregnant on purpose, or she was already pregnant when she signed the contract, or something along those lines. And they just clash. It's basically her versus Becky Hammond. Becky Hammond versus Derek Hammond just clashing. And Derek Hammond thinking she got done wrong. They traded her, and she just like, I need something to go down with Becky Hammond.
Yeah. It's strange because the WNBA is just so different when it comes down to things like that. You know what I mean? Because I can't think of a male equivalent of something that you can do. There's not an injury. There's something beautiful. You know what I mean? Having children and being married and all these type of things, and childbirth, but it takes you out for the year. You know what I mean? It can literally take you out for 9 months. You know what I mean? So it's something that's so delicate when it comes down to how you deal with those type of things. But it's definitely an ugly situation. And when you look at it in context and out of context, it's just ugly. It's just a real ugly, nasty situation that you hate. You hate to see what's going on with this. But yeah, Becky Hammond is going to get boiled for this role. But the thing is, she's a very good coach and a very good team. So I'm sure she's going to get some type of pass on this. But we'll see. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. By the time we do another show, the NBA's full schedule will probably be released. We'll probably know what this schedule is by the time we get time we do our Friday show. But a couple important dates have been released already. Namely the Christmas games. The Grizzlies did not have a Christmas game. Comes to no surprise to me. But also the NBA Cup has been announced. The teams that are in the Grizzlies Cup group pairings and all those type of things.
Emirates.
NBA Cup is going down. But yeah, I plan on taking that Dallas game on the road. I might make that. I usually try to make the road. I wanted
to. That's on Tuesday though. I was like,
yeah. Hey, you can do it, big dog. You can do it, big dog. You a boss, man. You ain't gotta go in the office, man. So yeah, I'm thinking about making that trip. Cool little midweek NBA Cup game. Check that out. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the midseason tournament, aka the NBA Cup? Like I like it. Like I don't think it's dumb at all.
No, I like it a lot. I liked it after when they first announced it. It was like Then actually, when I saw the format last year, it was like, oh, I like this. They changed the courts up for it, so you
uniforms and everything. I'm with it.
Yeah, you do this with in-season tournament game. It wasn't a regular season game. So yeah, I like it. And I like the group. I know the Grizzlies are probably in the hardest group, but I like it. I like the fact that we playing against pretty much our rivals, New Orleans. Dallas, Golden State, our rivals, right? So, and Denver Nuggets, we're going against one of the other top teams in the West. So, and we got Denver at home, so we ain't got to go to Denver in that Mile High area. So, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm with it. Kendrick Perkins predicted the Grizzlies to win that tournament. I don't really know what this is based off of, but okay, whatever, we'll take it. But speaking of bad predictions, man, David Aldridge, one of the GOATs, one of the all-time legends in covering the NBA, wrote an article about team grading teams all seasons. It has the Grizzlies dead last at 30.
Dang.
And my thing is, man, were the Grizzlies active or they super active? Were they active at all really this all season? No. But unless you feel like there was a gaping need and they just didn't do it, or they just made bad decisions, how can you say they had the worst offseason in the NBA? If anything, you give them a incomplete or does not calculate or something, whatever. How do you say they had a bad offseason? Like, I just think that was a horrible take by David Aldridge. But hey, I love seeing the Grizzlies prove people wrong. Just wild stuff from David Aldridge, man.
Yeah, it's plenty of teams that I could think of that probably got worse.
Bad offseasons, yeah.
Even a team like the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, Denver had a bad offseason. The Clippers had a bad offseason. I can't say the Grizzlies. You kept you retained one of the best shooters in the league. You have a lot of guys coming back that were injured. You drafted a guy at 10 that looks like he's going to be a rotation player. I just think it was a really bad take. And I think
he must don't. I could tell about that. He don't like Zach Edey. And
he just probably don't like Zach Edey.
He's basically on that, essentially, like he don't believe in Zach Edey, and that's supposed to be the biggest move.
Y'all should have got a vet. Y'all should have got a vet. I think that's what he's saying, but
probably
he'll be all right. We'll be all right, and he'll be all right for sure. I ain't mad at David Aldridge, one of the GOATs. Even though, have you seen the thing where they talk about him in NBA 2K, how the players walk off on him while he's talking?
For real.
Where David Aldridge just looks dumb because the players will walk off in the middle of him talking to him. Yeah, but it's some glitch in the game. It's a David Aldridge glitch they're talking about. But yeah, man, we're about to take a break, bro. When we come back, it's gonna be the 3-pointer with me and my man Parish Sharkey here on the Anthony Sain Show. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Grizzlies fans aren't gonna like this one. So,
oh my goodness!
In draft stuff, I went 50 players deep, and I did my own board. I had Edey 31st, but that is also a little
second round is crazy.
Yeah,
second round is crazy.
I didn't love the pick when they made it, but I definitely understand it was a draft for need, right? Like they really needed a center position or a player to fill center position minutes. So yeah, after they drafted him, I wasn't too excited, but I went and watched like every Purdue game I could find because the offense they ran is really fun. I will say I'm probably not the best at evaluating centers because I have a bias against them. But one thing with Edey is, you can just throw the ball to him like 2 feet away from the basket, and that's a really good shot. So even if he's like double teamed.
Yeah, very high percentage.
Yeah. So taking that into consideration, I feel a little better. Also, you cannot rush that man in the post. Even double teaming him, he's very patient and methodical. So
yeah,
I like seeing that too.
Tune into the No Bluffing Podcast with your hosts, Christian Ingram and Evan Hayes, every Monday at 12 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Great day for Old Buckets on Twitter yesterday, getting Luke Kennard back on the team.
I was excited to see he's on the team. He is the best 3-point shooter in the NBA. I don't understand the discourse, and I've got beef with you too about it.
I'm all for Luke staying on Beale Street. I ain't trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, well, I have a hard time believing that, Rusty, because the first thing you said was, this is a perfect contract to trade. Luke Kennard is never going to feel stable in Memphis. The first time his contract is up, they're like, okay, well, we're going to let this last until August, and then we're going to sign you for 1 year. It quells my own excitement because I've been all offseason like, re-sign Luke. He's a 45% three-point shooter. Obviously, you're going to have to either do this again next year or
stay. That's also a really good contract to pair with a John Conchar to get an $18 million wing that we can send off on 2 expiring deals.
Tune in to the $2 Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann every Friday at 3 p.m. only on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. I got my guy Parish Sharkey. I got my guy Kenny Stubblefield. So y'all know what's going down, man. It's time for the 3-pointer where we talk about 3 things going on in the world of sports. I ain't never seen a story that's actually funny yet pisses me off at the same time. I've never seen a meme that has gone this global this fast. And I'm like, there's nothing funny about that to me, bro. And I have reasons why it wasn't funny, and I have even more reasons why it's not funny today. This Australian breakdancing stuff at the Olympics is some bullshit. Shout out to my girl, Nika. Did you see my girl, Nika? I can't remember what country she's for. A little white girl with the do-rag on. Her name.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, literally, there's a white girl with a head with a do-rag on whose name is Nika on the screen.
I mean, be honest. How many minutes did y'all spend watching breakdancing?
None. I refused to watch it. Like, I knew it was going to be a lot of cultural appropriation, and people who actually can breakdance probably aren't on this show. Like people who really do are like the real dancers, like the Keita the Greats and all these type of kids. I guarantee you, they know one on there. It was just some people appropriating hip hop culture. So I was like, no, I'm straight. I ain't watching none of it. It's gonna piss me off. So I didn't watch it.
And it came true.
Yeah, and I saw the meme of this lady looking like an idiot, looking like the hip hop instructional video that came out about 20 years ago. That lady, I'm like, man, y'all done pissed me off. And then I come to find out that this lady was running a whole finesse. And this is some cultural experience to get her on the Olympics and her and her husband became the International Olympic Committee for this sport for their country.
Right. And
I'm like, what in the world, bro?
And they put together competitions that only they could win.
They could win.
And so people that were actually breakdancers in Australia didn't even have an opportunity to even try out for the team.
Because her and her husband became
the coach and the Olympic athlete.
How did that even happen, bro? I think because it's a sport in its infancy or whatever, they were able to just kind of finesse their way to the top.
I guess, yeah.
It's so much more to this story that is so stupid. She looked ridiculous. The memes are everywhere. They putting her in every movie. I've seen Jurassic Park. I've seen all kind of stuff that they put her in, man.
I have a feeling that this story is going to go from being a meme to like a serious conversation pretty soon.
It's going to get ugly, probably.
Because I think some real ugly stuff happened behind the scenes to make that happen, to make that go down. Because I think we need to be frank about it. The majority of Olympic committees, whether country by country or the International Olympic Committee, are some of the most corrupt entities out there, right?
Yeah,
The United States has had its own issue with the United States Gymnastics Association, you know, that kind of stuff. There's just so much bullshit that comes out of those organizations.
Yeah, man.
It's not going to surprise me if something comes out with Australia in this situation like that. It's going to be
even like with USA basketball with the stuff with Jaylen Brown,
right?
You know what I mean? You know, trying to do this whole morality thing, all this type of stuff they're doing with these guys. Like, man, get out of here. Like,
yeah,
and if that's why people who are in the know already know right now. Ja Morant is a signature athlete with Nike. If Nike wants him to be on this team, he's going to be on the team. Like this, they pretty much all of that stuff comes into play, bro. Like and the stuff with Jaylen Brown accusing Nike of leaving him out because of that type of stuff. It's all a real thing. But yeah, man, yeah.
Like I thought it was a legit joke when they came out and they're like, she's a doctor in like interpretive dance, cultural movements, or something like that. And I'm like, she's literally doing what my little 10-year-old son would do when he was a baby, falling on the floor.
Daddy, look at me,
look at me, Daddy. Look what I can do. Woo! You know, I'm like, man, come on, something is wrong here.
Yeah,
man.
She clearly has a mental problem, man. Like what? Like this is wild, bro. Like it is crazy that she got up to this level. You know, doing this. And but I will add her to the Finesse Hall of Fame that includes people like the brother that was doing the sign language that didn't know sign language. She up there with that, man.
Hey, I mean, honestly, I think we can go, hey, like, hats off to you. That was a finesse of all time.
Oh, that shit was crazy, though. That shit was foul. You know what I mean? That you were.
Hey, we need to come up with something so we in LA for the 2028 Olympics.
Let's go.
We need to
speaking of that, bro. Speaking of LA in 28, are we ready to hear They Not Like Us all over again in 4 years? Are we ready for that to happen again? Like, we know we're going to hear that for a month.
Hey, that's true.
There'll be some other song.
I mean, we got 4 years. Something else got to. I guess West Coast, they've kind of been chilling lately. Might be.
Yeah.
Man, the Olympics in LA in 4 years, you're going to hear it. They're going to crank. Gonna crank it all up again. You're gonna hear that beat for 2 weeks, bro. Everywhere.
But you know, man, Snoop Dogg is pretty big this Olympics. They might
they're gonna do some Snoop Dogg stuff. They're gonna do some Dre stuff.
We have a lot of West Coast stuff, but it's gonna be a lot of They Not Like Us, bro. Just get ready for it.
Are you over the song? Are you over it? Been over it?
And it's not just because I'm a Drake fan. I fool with Kendrick too, but that song goes into the Hall of Fame of white people. Y'all can have it now because y'all have taken it.
Stop.
You can have it.
No, sir.
You crazy, bro. Y'all took that song. That song is not ours no more. But that's who Kendrick Lamar is, bro. Like Kendrick Lamar, like, and that's one of the things Drake said too. Like Kendrick Lamar comes off to be this blackity black dude. That man music is beloved by way more white people than his black people, bro. That dude music crosses over to white people at a surprising rate, bro.
Go look at any footage from any hip hop concert in the last 20 years. It's been that way. Right? Like one of the greatest art. My favorite artists when I was in high school and college was Eminem and 50 Cent. Loved them. One of the greatest videos, Patiently Waiting, Eminem or 50 Cent live with Eminem in Detroit. They pan the crowd. It is 95% white folks in there in Detroit.
But for some of the things that Kendrick Lamar has said on Wax, you know, like especially like the Killer Mockingbird. What's the name of the album? The Pimp a Butterfly. That album.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff he was saying in that album, white people should not have been bumping that shit.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Something else I watched this weekend, Kenny Stubblefield. I watched my first UFC show this weekend. And my guy, Left Hand to God, which is dope. It has to be the dopest name in the history of any sport. Danny Barlow, straight from Memphis, Tennessee. got a win, man. Totally outclassed this bum. He was in the ring with the octagon with. I learned some things about UFC because it was another fight I was watching, a pre-fight, and some guy kept trying to like lock his toes into the cage.
Yeah,
like grabbing the cage. You can't do that.
Nope.
You can touch the cage, but you can't use the cage to prevent you from getting.
You can push off, but you can't grab.
Yeah, but Danny Barlow, I'm trying to understand like the scoring of UFC, but they basically said that Danny won because he got more hits in and he kind of had control of the fight.
Yeah, it's control. He had they call it octagon control, right? Like there wasn't very many times. Anytime that the guy's name was Nikolai Veretennikov, anytime that he shot in to try to take Danny to the ground, Danny would switch him to the cage, get underhooks underneath his arms here, move him back. He could never get control. Danny had control of the fight the entire time.
Yeah. Left-handed guy, bro.
They still gave him one judge. He ended up earning a split decision. One judge gave all 3 rounds to Veretennikov.
And by a piece.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because Danny definitely was. I'm not a UFC guy, really. I don't really understand what I'm watching at the time, but like, it definitely looked like Danny had control.
He won the first 2 rounds easily. I would give, if I was judging it, I would give the 3rd round to Veretennikov because he pushed forward, trying to knock him out, but Danny was on his bike and wasn't getting hit. But man, it was one of those fights. Like, you talk to Danny, and we dropped a video on Friday with him.
Go check that John out too.
Yeah, it was fun, man. Good. It was fun. Danny's a beast, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, Gabe Kuhn
is a big ass dude.
He's 6'5" easily. He says he weighs 305. That motherfucker's 320, bro. Like, no doubt in my mind, he's a monster.
Yep.
Gabe, I apologize. Gabe's gonna be pissed off when he hears me say that. But he got on top of Danny, and Gabe's not just a big dude. Gabe played professional offensive lineman. He was in the New Orleans
Saints.
Saints. Thank you.
Yeah.
In their training camp. He spent time in the NFL, played Canadian Football League. He did all this stuff. And he had Danny. Danny was on top. Danny's 195, 200 pounds, soaking wet.
Yeah.
Right. Fights at 170.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabe could not get Danny off of him. At all. And then Gabe's got his big ass on top of Danny.
And Danny was like, all right.
Then he was like, zoop. I was like,
yeah, bro. Like if being able to like hold your own in the street fight and getting in the UFC ring, they are not the same shit, bro.
Not the same.
He is a professional fighter, like for real.
And he's got professional beatings for people, man. I'm so excited.
Undefeated, 9-0 now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Real quick before we move on to that, he hadn't fought 8 UFC fights though, has he?
No, he's fought. I think he's fought 2 that is counted for his record. He's fought 3 in the UFC because he had to win. It's an exhibition fight on this Contender Series, which is actually going to be starting on Tuesday night this week. It's on ESPN Plus, but they bring in all these unsigned dudes and they fight. And Dana White, the president and CEO of the UFC, will give contracts to guys. Danny went and fought, beat up another Memphis guy.
Yeah, I know that.
Him out. Got his contract. Fought Josh Quinlan in his first in UFC 298 in his first UFC fight. Broke his arm in the first round. Ended up knocking dude out in the 3rd round with the broke arm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Healed up, came back. That was his first fight. So that he went to 8-0 during that time period.
So where did 8-0 come from then? If he's only had 3
he's
fights?
Fought professionally prior. So me and you have gone to Attitude MMA fights.
So them fights count?
Those are professional fights. They
count
record.
It's like boxing.
He gets paid for that shit. Yeah.
I didn't know they counted towards his UFC record.
Yeah. If you're a professional fighter, there's these regional fighting alliances that he fights for before you go to the UFC.
So when we see guys take a loss at like Attitude MMA, if they end up going to the UFC, they're gonna come in with them that record.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny be on these folks' ass, and he ain't never lost to nobody.
9-0, like 6 first-round knockouts, 1 submission. I mean, the dude's a finisher. He's a beast, man. Like he's a beast. I'm
definitely pulling for him. He's definitely a guy that's could be a Memphis legend for sure. Number 3, Kenny. This is another exciting story. We talked about the effects of the NIL deals and the FedEx money, all those type of things. Didi Hagman joins the University of Memphis ladies basketball team.
Man,
I don't know too much about it. They just say she hooping. They say she's probably the biggest recruit that Memphis has had in a very long time.
Yeah,
with the school late transfer portal young lady, if I'm not mistaken. Something like a sister plays in another AAC conference team or something like that. And plus,
I think so. I don't know who she plays for, but yeah, Dee Dee Hagman came from Michigan State. She was second team All Big Ten selection last year. Led the Big Ten in assist to turnover ratio. She averaged 12.3 points, 5.2 assists per game. I mean, just probably one of the bigger additions that Alex Simmons has received since she's been here. I mean, just a monster get.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Simmons, man. Like I said, she's getting stuff done over there, man. We really were mourning. I can't even think of the other coach's name. When we lost her, people were thinking, well, that's over. You know, ladies Tiger basketball is going back to normal. But Coach Simmons is coming in and creating a new normal over there for that ladies basketball program. Big things, man. Don't Tennessee come to town this year too?
They do, and I need to. I wish I could say it.
Hey, you've been sitting on something for a minute, man. You've been playing with something for a minute.
I wish I could tell you it's going to be a monster year for both men's and women's in terms of there's going to be an event that's going to be amazing this year.
It's going down. It's going down for sure. But I tell you what, gentlemen, we're about to take one more break. But when we come back, man, it's going to be Inside the Sain Brain here on the Anthony Sain Show. We'll see you guys in a minute.
The buzzword phrase of the day is implied authority. But here's the argument that's coming back from the ACC is that he had implied authority to be able to do that based on previous decisions that had been made and were agreed upon by the universities. So things could get squirrely here.
The ACC has bylaws stating that if anything changes with the media deal, they all have to be notified and agree on it. Even if he has applied authority, that means he could sign it without them. The ACC bylaws don't state that.
If he has implied authority to be able to make those decisions in terms of a media deal, he signs it and he just has to make them aware. That doesn't give them authority to veto it, right? Like they can't veto that if that's true. But if they have to sign off on it, then that the implied authority argument is null and void.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
No Christmas Day game for the Grizzlies. And not that upset me. I mean, I'm fine not playing on Christmas. But it just keeps feeling like it's piling up that we are a forgotten team, and we're a forgotten team with a forgotten star. This is the year to remind them. LFG! Exclamation point.
Dang, you started like that today. Okay.
Let's go.
It's
the Remind Me Tour.
Hey, no
Grizzlies are on tour this season. It's the Remind Me Tour. Go ahead and start the hashtag. Hashtag Remind Me. Because the Grizzlies are going to remind them who they are.
Tune in to the Night Court Podcast with your hosts, Rob Fisher and Brevin Knight.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Anthony Sain Show. Time for Inside the Sain Brain, man, where we talk about something that's on the brother's mind. Yeah, man, I've been talking about a lot of stuff that got to do with dating and relationships, man, but very seldom do we talk about stuff that got to do with marriage and weddings more in particular. We talk about marriage, but not actually the wedding ceremony, man. And we just live in some weird times, Kenny Stubblefield, where people just have the audacity, man. In some cases, the nigacity. Excuse me for some of the stuff that we do, man. Oh, like, man, this is crazy. Like, it's some wild stuff going on out there, Kenny Stubblefield. You got a clip. I think you got the video clip available.
I'm gonna play it.
I'm gonna let the clip breathe, man. Let's play that joint. We're gonna talk about it.
Part of our wedding, you had to pay $450 for a ticket, and that's for each guest. So we invited friends and family to our wedding. Tell me why everybody that we invited has declined the invitation. We already have spent $100, maybe almost close to $200,000 on the wedding. We have already pre-ordered the cake. We already put down a deposit for the venue.
So you're having a wedding.
We got the wedding dress.
Oh, you're having a wedding.
Everything. We pay for everything for the wedding. DJ, photographer.
Congrats.
Everything for the wedding. And what I don't understand is that y'all spend $400 more money on stupid stuff, but you can't come out to support your family and your friends at a wedding.
Or stupid
like,
stuff.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell it like, is we wrong?
You're wrong.
Like,
you're wrong.
Like, let me know. Let me know.
You're wrong.
Because y'all pay for tickets. Beyonce tickets, $1,000 tickets. Y'all going to go meet Chris Brown for $1,000 something. But
also
when it comes to your friends and your family, you can't pay the ticket. Like these weddings ain't cheap. Like the weddings ain't cheap. Like what's going on? Like I don't get it. Like let us know, are we wrong for charging for a wedding? Like I really, really want to know.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Let me just touch on a couple things you said. Yes, weddings do have a cost, right? $200,000, bro. Like you don't have to have that extravagant of a wedding. I'm not gonna tell you how to do it. If you can't do it like that, bro, don't do it like that because you can't have a $200,000 wedding and then invite 200 people to spend $450 and get half the money back. Because that's if 200 people show up, you made $100,000 off their wedding, bro.
Could you imagine the balls that it takes to say, hey, mom and dad, thank you for raising me. Thank you for being there and supporting me my entire life. Y'all got to drop $900 to come and see me get married.
Not that. Auntie Lane, can you? Auntie Agnes, I need you to drop you and Uncle Buck. I need y'all to drop off $900 to come.
Does that include? Do you think that $450 includes the gift? Are they expecting gifts as well?
I'm sure. But that is crazy. $450 watch you get married. And if you know a wedding, bro, even the black families where ours is, we do a little extra. You're talking about a 30, 45 minute experience max. And I'm just gonna spend $450 to see y'all. Nah. Because even doing that makes me question the longevity of y'all union. You know what I mean? Like, what is it really built on? You know what I mean? So, I'm good, bro. This is absolutely crazy, brother.
You've done a wedding before. I've done a wedding before. Parish, you've done a wedding before. What could you spend
$200,000 on?
What do you spend $200,000 on? Because the main piece of the pie in terms of the budget of a thing is
the building.
Is the
food.
The food to me is the food, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how much? What are you feeding them? Like, what are you feeding?
I got straight steaks, and then
$450 to come watch them get married. Then there's not an open bar. You got to pay to drink. Oh my God. Come on,
bro, y'all can get out of my face, brother. You wrong, brother. You wrong. You wrong, bro. I'm sorry.
You think he was really asking if he was wrong, or do you think he thinks he's right?
Man, the times we live in today, this whole thing could be bullshit. The whole thing could be fake.
Yeah, I don't think he was paying no $200,000.
Yeah, man. So hey, brother, ain't nobody paying no $450 to come to your wedding, man. Sorry, my brother, but it ain't going down like that. Well, gentlemen, we about to slide about this joint. The show's a little short today, but yeah, we'll be back Friday. Really cool guest who'll be on here Friday, man. It's gonna be really cool. I ain't gonna say who it is now.
I'm excited.
Y'all tune in. It'll be a good show Friday. For Parish Sharkey, for my man Kenny Stubblefield, this is Anthony Sain. We'll see y'all next time, man. And we out.
Thank you for listening to the Anthony Sain Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next week.